So here's a cafe of your man. You'd be happy to see it fail. You'd be happy to see the male bashing, the male smashing, the division. You'd happy to see this one fail. That's right, a feminist cafe that charged 18% man tax. That's right. Just think, you went to a cafe, you ordered your meal. The price on the menu might have been what, $7, $8 or whatever for a burger or fries, right? And then you go up there to pay for it, and suddenly you get the price of the burger, you get the price of the fries, you get the price of the taxes, and then you got an additional tax. That's right. See, the additional tax is male bashing, male smashing. See, your crime was you was born with a penis. And because you was born with a penis, you have to be charged more money. Because after all, there's a wage gap. Of course, it's an invisible wage gap that don't exist. No lie, it's an invisible wage gap. It's one that never existed to begin with. But because these women hate men so bad, they've decided that invisible gap must be real because they hate us. It's a lot like how men hate men and women hate men and Hollywood hates men. The music industry hates men. The most hated species on the face of the earth. That's right. I think snakes and maggots and cockroaches, that's right, are more accepted in today's society than men are. Yep, you're going to say, oh, I'm full of it. Not really. It's like people who try to go around the male shaming on TV. Says, oh, I don't see that. Hardly ever. Oh, yeah, right. Sure. I mean, we all know that man can't fly. What do you mean you go into an airport and catch a plane? No, but there ain't no such thing as an airport. Airports don't exist. It's not possible for a man to fly. What do you mean you climb in a horseless buggy? There ain't no such thing as a horseless buggy. Okay, now I'm being sarcastic, but that's to all of these nut jobs that want to come up and say that there ain't no male bashing going on TV 365 days a year when there is. Because they're going to turn their back, turn their head, and look the other way. Because there's nothing wrong with it. It's like all these women who, of course, there ain't all these women, we have a percentage of women who over the years since I've been doing this would come forward and speak out for men. Like Karen Stroud, right? Yeah, or her little female posse, right? Who claims to be speaking for men's rights. You don't hear them talk about male shaming. No, they don't acknowledge that. And even if they did, do you think they would be down there picketing in Hollywood? Do you really think that they're going to get together and they're going to start picketing and complaining and making newspaper articles and going to town after Hollywood for the male shaming? If they were really about your rights, they would. But they're not about to do that because they're not really about your rights. They've never really been about your rights. So we got an 18% man tax at this place. Glad to see they shut down. We have man spreading. Oh, yeah. If you're up there in New York and you get on that there freaking, what do you call that, subway? There's signs, and it's a law. If you're a man and you be spreading. You just hold them legs, you gotta hold them legs tight together. You might want to take a bungee cord and wrap it around your legs. Keeping them squeezed together tight. Because if there's any gap in between the two legs and they're not touching each other, you might get fined for man spreading. That's right. But the female, I don't know, she don't got to use bungee cord to strap her legs together. Not at all. She don't have to worry about no female spreading. Ain't no such thing as a law about female spreading. That's only directed to men. Because after all, we're so loved, because there's no problem going on amongst the genders at all. It's normal to have a law against men for not having their legs bungee corded together on a subway or on a bus. Absolutely ridiculous. Just like this right here. It don't surprise me that you would have had an 18% man tax. It don't surprise me at all. I'm surprised you don't got an 18 or 20%. I probably shouldn't say this. It'll probably give you an idea, ain't I? Yeah. Shouldn't there be an 18 to 20% tax for a boy going to school with the rest of the children? Because after all, he is a boy, right? He's going to grow up to be a man. Or shouldn't we just neuter him at birth or maybe kill him at birth? I mean, since we all hate men so bad. That's right. Since we all hate men so bad. Men hate men, women hate men. Yep. Hollywood hates men. The music industry hates men. 15, 20% of the women are only changed. I see 15, 20% of the men are the only ones that could ever be liked. The rest of the men are just, they don't even exist. They're ghosts. They're invisible. Of course, unless you walk into their environment, then they might hit you for a man tax. Or if you're on their subway or on that bus, you better take your bungee cord and wrap it around your legs. That's right, so that they don't spread, because you wouldn't want them separated from each other, because you wouldn't want to have a cop arresting you for man spreading. It's sick. And you think I'm full of it. I'm nuts, right? No, I'm not. There's actually a law put on the books, made by other sick, psychopathic, twisted, mentally ill screwballs. And we're telling people this is a law, and we're these order followers that are wearing them suits and them costumes with badges and following the orders will arrest that man for his legs not being bungee corded together. Or roped together. Yeah. Because you couldn't have no gap in between your two legs, because that might be man spreading. You would have to get fined for that and go explain to the judge how offensive that was. At one time, I used to be sarcastic and say, offensive, huh? I'll give you offensive. We're in a military battle zone. Your enemy's straight ahead of you. We grab her. We strap her to the front end of a Jeep, military Jeep. We spread her legs. We rip her pants and panties off. And the enemy died from the foul smell that fell out that hole. Okay, now I'm not serious. I'm being sarcastic, but when I think about man spreading, and I think about a man having to literally almost bungee cord his legs or tie his legs together because he's hated so bad for being a man that he might spread his legs and use up too much room on a seat. Or I think about an 18% phony baloney tax thrown onto a man's bill if he eats in this cafe just because of his gender. And when I look at what I see going on in the so-called manosphere, or what's the so-called normies, and how people are doing things in society and our behaviors, how we treat each other, then I have a tendency sometimes of being sarcastic and throwing insults back. You know, and I know you didn't like the last thing I said about strapping her to a Jeep and spreading her legs and killing an entire city block, because that was so cold and cruel. But I think man spreading is cold and cruel and even more calculated because you're charging them money. I think male bashing on television is stuff that I have to put up with as a man and see, and all other men have to put up with and see, that none of you care about. I think your man-hating society, this man-hating world we live in, yeah, male-hating, man-hating, because you've fallen for the division, the programming. So sometimes I do get sarcastic with you. And I throw it back at that female gender who won't stand up for you because they don't want to lose their power trip. They don't want to lose their corruption. Yeah, it's pretty sad, isn't it? But I wanted to throw this out there, throw this in your face a little bit. Kevin shared this with me. Couldn't believe they'd really done this, what he says to me when he typed it. And I can believe they'd really done this. I don't have an issue with believing this would really be done. The only good thing is after 2 years, they closed it. That's the only good thing to come out of it. Is it got shut down. But to believe that our society would do this, oh hell yeah. When you write a law, a rule, and you put it on the books, man spreading, and you arrest and charge men and rob money from them because they sat down on a bench on a subway or on a bus and their legs wasn't strapped together, you might as well say they got to have a bunch of cord or rope to strap their legs together. Because if you spread your legs at all, it's called man spreading and they're charged money. Now you know why I got sarcastic about spreading the woman's legs? See? Yeah, of course I went even a little bit worse and told you she killed an entire city block with the foul smell that flew out of there. Why not? Why wouldn't I add to it and become disgusting like that? How disgusting is it for you to say there's man spreading? How disgusting is it for you to charge a man 18% increase on their bill just because of their gender? Why didn't you kill them at birth? How disgusting is it for men to have to sit there and little boys have to sit there and watch a television set that constantly puts them down their whole life? You don't see that happening to the females, and you don't see no females standing up to it neither. So for all these females that claim to be fighting for men's rights, I have yet to see it. All I see is females just pretending to fight for the males' rights that won't stand up against the other females whatsoever, because after all, they don't want to lose their power trip, do they? They don't want to lose their corruption, their double standards. So once again, it goes back to, if it's born a boy, neuter it or kill it. Because after all, men and women alike hate men, right? That's right, even other men hate men. The man, the most hated species on the face of the planet. Disgusting.